Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture. In this video, we are going to discuss the MFA in the AWS IAM service, and also we need to understand what is shared responsibility model in AWS. So let us first look at shared responsibility model. Okay, so as you are seeing on screen, there is some responsibilities for whoever using the AWS account, at the same time whoever providing the AWS. Okay, so what exactly shared responsibility model will talk? Let us understand with some illustration or demonstration. Okay, so let's say this is a complete AWS account or AWS cloud. Okay, so this is a AWS cloud. Okay, so here AWS will have their own data centers. Okay, let's read this as one data center. Okay, this is a AWS cloud data center or one region it is. Okay, this is one data center region. Okay, to create or to establish that this data center, I mean, AWS is actually placed all the hardware devices there. I mean, related to servers, related to database, related to service storage, right? Related to analytics, related to machine learning, all the hardware devices they placed in this physical location in this data center. It means it's a one physical data center. All the hardware devices are there, and when all the hardware devices are there inside this data center like this, maybe it is a server device, it is a storage devices, there are some Wi-Fi, I mean routers, right? There are some analytics devices, there are some uh, data science devices, right? Something, all kind of racks will be there. In the racks, they will install all the hardware devices like this. Okay, okay. So let's treat this as completely hardware resources. Okay. So for this, who is responsible? As we already discussed, maybe in our previous videos. So as customer don't want to maintain his own data center, physical data center, he is going with cloud. Means he is accessing all those hardware resources or IT resources over the internet. And who is going to provide those resources? So in our case, it's AWS. AWS is a cloud service provider, and he is providing all these resources to the customers via remotely, right? With a pay-as-you-go pricing model. Okay, so for using that, we need to pay to the AWS. The customer need to pay to the AWS. Okay, so it means all the hardware device maintenance should be taken care by AWS, as he is a cloud provider, right? So when there are these physical devices, it means to purchase them, to install them, to configure those, to maintain those devices, everything is his responsibility. On top of that, when there is some hardware device, definitely there is some maintenance, right? It means to install the required software in that, I mean, maintain the updates to that software, and on top of that, even the security, to securely maintain that those hardware devices, right? And that building location, the data center, and power backup to the data center, network to the data center, security to the data center location also. So everything will be taken care by AWS people. It means he's taking care of security of the cloud, security of that data center, security of that cloud will be taken care by AWS cloud. Okay, AWS provider. So simply he's responsible for security of the cloud. Okay, security of the cloud. Then then from this location, maybe here we are going to have customer. Okay, we are going to have customer. Okay, here we are going to have customer. Let's say one organization or one customer. Okay, he is one organization user or organization owner. So what he's going to do for his data center, for his IT resource requirement, he's going to take the subscription from AWS cloud. Means he will utilize all these hardware resources for his organization purpose. So when he is subscribing to AWS, when he is getting some services, utilizing some services from AWS, he is also responsible for the security in the cloud. How? Let's say he's going to take all the hardware device from the AWS. So till this part, to provide the hardware devices is, I mean, providing hardware devices AWS responsibility. That is fine. So once, let's say for his purpose, he is going to take one server from the cloud. Let's say this is a server. Okay, let's say this is a server, EC2 instance or EC2 server. Okay, so once, I mean, maintaining this hardware device in the data center is AWS responsibility. That is fine. So once this organization owner taking this EC2 server, what is his responsibility? Means on top of this EC2 server, what are all the software he installs? What is the data he stores? To whom he give the access? So everything is customer responsibility. Okay, not only EC2. Let's say he is going to work with the IAM service. Okay, this is a, let's say this is a IAM service. So here, what he will do? If you don't know, please go through our previous videos. There is a video on the IAM in our channel. So using IAM in the AWS, we will provide the access. We will provide the access to the users. Okay, we will provide the access to the users. So maintaining or providing this IAM service to the customers is AWS responsibility. Again, how you use that service, I mean, to whom you will give the access, what are the permissions you will assign, what are the resources you will give him to the access, right? So those are all who will take care. Customer should take care. So customer is responsible for security in the cloud. Okay, customer is responsible for security in the cloud, right? So AWS is responsible for security of the cloud because they are maintaining all this cloud. And once that cloud is available inside that cloud, customer is going to log in and he is going to create his services, right? So inside the cloud, customer is responsible. So customer is responsible for security in the cloud. Okay, this is how it works. Okay. So if you go to share responsibility model also here, you can see as per the share responsibility model, customer is responsible for security in the cloud, inside the cloud, right? And AWS is responsible for security of the cloud, okay, to maintain that cloud. Okay, so you can see here. So to maintain the cloud or data center, what all will be there? So we have seen in the previous videos, right? So when we talk about the AWS global infrastructure, they need to maintain. I mean, they have regions. I mean, data centers. They have availability zones against sub data centers. They have edge locations, right? And inside their services, they have products. They have categories of products. They have compute. Nothing but the server related category. They have storage category, they have database category, they have networking. So all to maintain all these hardware devices is their responsibility. And on top of that is any kind of vulnerability softwares are required, right? To at least to boot that services, to maintain that hardware device also there could be some software. That is also AWS responsibility. After that, once we subscribe to AWS, once we got this device, let's say you are taking compute service, let's say you are taking storage service. So on top of that, what is the OS you are going to install? Okay, how you are going to enable the security configuration for that? And if you are going to use IAM, to whom you are going to access? And what is the application you are going to install? Okay, what is the data you are going to install? That is customer responsibility. Okay, so in this way, shared responsibility model works in the AWS. Okay, so we should understand this concept for every service. So whenever you are interacting with any service, there is some shared responsibility in between customer and AWS. Okay, so now that is about the shared responsibility model. Now let us see what is MFA. So if you see here in the identity and access management, we have some important objects or features to cover. So IAM users, which is used to provide the access to individual user, and IAM policy, which is used to provide the required permissions to the IAM users, and IAM groups, which is used to provide the or manage the access to multiple people at a time as a group, as a team. Okay, these three we already covered in previous video. I mean, you can go to our channel and check that. And next, we are left with multi-factor authentication. Okay, so you can see here what is multi-factor authentication. So whenever you are logging to the AWS management console, you are using username and password, right? We all are using username and password. Okay, so as a username and password are very, I mean, security sensitive. They may be exposed to anyone else, right? Maybe to your friends, to your colleagues, to your co-workers. Anyone can know that password. Anyone can log into your account and do something, right? Even hackers can easily hack that. Maybe. So from the AWS side, as a best practice, it is recommended who is using console access to connect to the AWS account. They should enable the MFA on their accounts. Okay, it means here we have the user, and here this is the AWS code in the right side. So you cannot directly log into the AWS account. In middle, if you enable the MFA, there is a additional security. So once after you're entering your username and password, in addition to that, you should also enter something called MFA token. If you enable the MFA, multi-factor authentication on your user, then it will ask you for entering the MFA token. Okay, so we can see how we can enable that. So let me do that. So I'm going to my AWS console. Okay, I am already logged into my AWS console and I'm inside the root user. That's why I'm seeing only account name here in the top corner. Okay, so I'm inside my root user, and for every console user we should enable the MFA, and specifically to root user it is mandatory because root user is the owner of that account and he can do anything including billing and cost management also, right? Cost management also. That's why. So now what I will do, from here I will create one administrator user. So always it is best practice, guys, even in the real time also, what we will do, we will not use this root user for all the activities. So what we will do as a owner, maybe first the company owner may create the AWS account, he may get the root user, but he cannot do everything, right? So what he will do first, how we have seen in the IAM IAM session, how we will create the users for different teams for different activities, right? To maintain all of that, first of all, to maintain his AWS account, he will create one administrator user. I mean, he will recruit one person who is expertise in maintaining this AWS cloud. So he will provide the administrator access to him. Okay, administrator access means he can do anything in the AWS account. He will manage. So once the administrator user is there, he will manage all the AWS account. He will provide the access to all other teams. So that he will do, except from billing. So I'm going to create one administrator user now for my account. So users, create user. So here I'm giving the name as administrator. Okay, and I want to give him the console access. So we have to select this. And here I want to create the IAM user. So second one, and I want to give the custom password. So giving the custom password here. Okay, giving the password as admin1234, and I don't want him to change the password, so I'm disabling this. Clicking on next, and here I I don't want to add him to group. I don't want to copy permissions from other user. I want to directly install the policy to him, because he is only one person going to be in my organization who is going to maintain my AWS account. So select attach policies directly, the third option. And here the second one, administrator access. If you expand this policy and see, if you expand this policy and see, you can see here, it's a very simple policy. But I mean, to look like it is very simple policy in the JSON, but it is very big policy, because if you see here, in the inside the statement effect is allow and the action is star, resource is star. It means if you give this policy inside the database account, he can access any resource. He can access EC2, he can access S3, he can access database, he can access machine learning service, he can access data science service, everything. And action he can perform, as we mentioned star here, he can perform any kind of action on any kind of resource. That is what we are giving the permission here. Okay, you can select this administrator access and next. So review. We are giving username as administrator, custom password, and administrator access. That is fine. Tag if you want to give, you can give, and create user. That's it. So you have to download this file to know the credentials, right? Right. So let us try to log in with that user now. So I'm going to private window, and already maybe it is there, right? In the downloads, the file got downloaded here. Let me take the console URL. I'm logging into the admin user now. Let it open. Yeah. So now we are at the sign in page, right? I'm giving the username, and then as I know the password, I am entering it. I only created the user, right? Yeah, just click on sign in. Yes. So now I'm successfully logged into the AWS account. But what is our requirement here? This is fine, as we provided the administrator access, so he can do anything in the AWS account. He can create any kind of service, okay, except billing, as I mentioned. If you see here, if you scroll down, cost and usage, still he is getting access denied because as the administrator user, he can do anything except billing and cost management. Okay, that only root user can access. Okay, that's it. So, but our requirement in our case, what is our requirement? We should enable MFA for this user, right? So, how we can do that? So, once you logged into this administrator user, you can click on this account name here. You can see security credentials, right? Security credentials. Just click on it. Click on it. Okay, so once you click on it directly, you can see you are getting the warning, right? Warning symbol like you don't have MFA assigned. You can directly click here. Otherwise, if you scroll down here, you can see under AWS IAM credentials, you have multi-factor authentication. Okay, so for now it is saying 0, means you don't have assigned any MFA to this account, right? So if you have already assigned, it will showcase here. Okay, so we want to assign the MFA or add the MFA multi-factor authentication. Just click on assign MFA device. Assign MFA device, and you can give any kind of name to remember it. So we are going to install one application actually. So there you can find out or identify that using this name actually. So for that purpose, what I'm giving like this, I'm giving. Okay, fine. And next, in the MFA option, we have three options. First one is passkey or security key. So this is something like, you can use your fingerprint or face or screen unlock. Okay, so but it which is not that much comfortable when we're using from the laptops. So second option is authenticate app. Authenticate app means you can see here. So you can authenticate using a code generated by an app installed on your mobile device or computer. Okay, so there are some authenticator apps in the Play Store. We can download that into our mobile and we can connect that to our AWS account. So whenever we need to log in that app, it will generate one token. We should enter the token in the login console. That is the second option. And the third one is hardware TOTP token. It means authenticate using a code generated by hardware TOTP token or other hardware devices. Simply, you will store your passkey inside the hardware device. There should be one hardware device to generate the token. Okay, for that, only for that purpose should have one hardware device. Okay, which is also, I mean, till this practical, we're not going to use that. Okay, only authenticate app we are going to see now. So you should select, I mean, you have to give this device name and if you select authenticate app, click on next. So here, setting up in the device, we have three steps, right? So first one, we should install a compatible application such as Google Authenticator, Duo. So we have so many, I mean, 5 or 6 applications. Okay, if you want to see what all the applications are compatible, you can click on see a list of compatible applications. Okay, so here in this page we can find what all the compatible applications. Okay, so if you scroll down here, you can find out for Android we have these many apps like Twilio Authenticator, Duo Mobile, Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, Systemic, I mean Semantic VIP. Okay, these are the apps available in the Play Store. You can download whatever you want, any one app. Okay, so for our practical, I am going with Google Authenticator. Google Authenticator. Okay, I am going to use Google Authenticator. So you can download it from Play Store, not in the system, not in the system. Now what you have to do, we actually decided to go with the Google Authenticator, right? So this will be the symbol, guys. If you go into the Play Store, this is the logo. Whatever you are seeing in the right side, right? This is the logo of the Google Authenticator app. So what you have to do, you have to go to your mobile from the Play Store. Okay, you have to go to your mobile from the Play Store. You should download it. So let me share my mobile screen once. Let me check whether I can able to show you or not. Okay, what I will do, I will share my. Okay, so you're able to see my mobile screen. So what I will do, I will go to Play Store. Okay, here in the Play Store, you can search for Google Authenticator. Google Authenticator is the first one. Okay, here you can see Google Authenticator, the second one. Okay, the second one, Google Authenticator installed. In my device, it is already installed. Okay, so that's why it is showing as install and open. So let me open that. Okay, so here I think you are unable to see my screen because it's a security concern, right? So how it will like, it may ask you to get started. Okay, it may ask you get started. You should click on get started. And if it is asking you to sign in with your mail ID, you can continue for that. Okay, after that, in your screen below, there may be some plus symbol in the right side below. Right side below, there is a plus symbol. You should click on that plus symbol and it will give you two options. Scan a QR code, enter a setup key. Just click on scan a QR code. Okay, scan a QR code. After that, if you go to your AWS console, right? So click on that, scan a QR code. Okay, now let me share my system screen. Share my system screen. I will show you. Okay, so I'm sharing my system screen now. Okay, so I'm sharing my system screen now. So for that, there is something. So yeah, that's okay. Okay. So whenever you clicked on the scan QR code, you can see here in the AWS console, we have a second step to show QR code, right? You can click on the show QR code, and this QR code you should scan from that app. This QR code you should scan from the app. Okay. In your account also, you will able to see this QR code. Okay. So once you scan this code, automatically your your application will get connected to your AWS account. Simply that's it. So once you scan this QR code inside your Google Authenticator app, you should see something called Amazon Web Services colon whatever the name you have given. While I mean for this device name. Okay, for this device name, whatever you given that will showcase here, and below it will generate some numbers, tokens, right? And that token will change for every 30 seconds. So here as a third step, we should confirm that we have attached to it. So as a MFA code one, whatever the code you are seeing now, you should enter that first. In my case, I am entering my code, and after this, wait for some time. It will change. The code will change. So we should enter the second code also. After the 30 seconds, it will change. We should enter that second code also. Okay. Let me wait until it generates a new code. Okay, it is changed now. I'm entering second code also. Okay, that's it. So now you can click on add MFA. So we have to give the device name. We have to select the second option, Authenticator app. We need to install the application in our mobile. So we can install Google Authenticator, which will be like this logo. And then you should click on the plus symbol in your application in the below side and scan this QR code. And below you should enter the continuous continuous codes. Okay, just click on add MFA. So that's it. So MFA device has been added. Now if you see under my security credentials in the IAM credentials, you can see it is showing one MFA device now, right? Virtual and the MFA device name, everything it is showing, right? So let us now try to log into this account one more time by login out. Just let me sign out. Okay. So I'm trying to sign into the console one more time using the same credentials, admin account. Okay. Now, let me try to log in now. So what is the username? Administrator, right? Administrator, and the password is admin thread 1234. Now you all know my username and my password. So you can also log into my account. Even you know the account ID also here. Yes, I'm clicking on sign in. Let's see what happened. See, it is asking for me to enter MFA code. Still, you all, even though you all know my username and password, you can log in. But as I enable MFA multi-factor authentication for my account, it is asking for me to MFA code. So no one can enter this site because it is in my mobile. I can only access my mobile, right? So and even in that app also, for every 30 seconds the code will change. So now you have to go to your that application, open that application, okay, and whatever the code you are seeing there, you can enter that. So sometimes it may be previous wala, so you just refresh and enter the code whatever you are getting there. Okay, that's it, and just click on sign in. Let us see. See, now I'm able to log in. So in this way we should enable the additional security for all the console users in our account. Okay, this is the process to enable the MFA. Okay, so MFA is used to create the additional security. Okay, so in this session we discussed about shared responsibility model, right? And we discussed about multi-factor authentication of the AWS account. Okay, so this is about this session. So we have learned shared responsibility and multi-factor authentication. We will meet you in the next session. And before going, whenever you're practicing anything, once after your practical, remove all those resources whatever you created part of the practical, because as we are in the free tier usage, there may be some kind of usage limits to our account. So you should remove all the resources once after completing your accounts. So as now I am created administrator user, what I will do, I will go here, I will select this user and I will delete the user. Okay, it is asking me to enter the username. I will enter it, delete. So that's it. Okay, in this way, if you are creating any kind of resource, if you're creating any networking device, if you are creating any server, if you're creating any S3 buckets, any kind of resource, you should delete those resources after your practical or tasks are completed. Okay, make sure. Fine. Thanks for joining the session. Let's meet in next video.